Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of Press Hour in 2023. It is also the first after recess observed for over a month. On behalf of the production team, I wish you, all our viewers, a happy new year 2023. Let it bring to you the fullness of health, love and prosperity. Press Hour also sends out special New Year wishes to the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, the First Lady, Mrs. Chantal Biya, and to the Director General of CRTV, Charles Ndongo, who is ensuring the general supervision of this program. And when we talk about Charles Ndongo, we think also of Emmanuel Wongebe, his deputy, who is always there with his Director General. December 2022 and the beginning of January 2023 has been characterized by charged presidential and non-presidential activities. In each of the activities, prayers, wishes, public statements and declarations, as well as serious planning for a better year 2023. We have picked out two themes from the lot: morality and patriotism, without which all the others, no matter the effort, may not have a solid base. Lessons of morality and patriotism from the head of state's declaration is our focus on Press Hour today. And to talk about this topic, I am going to introduce to you the panel. Beginning with ladies first, Madame Nicoline Waze, who is a jurist and a governance expert. We are very glad once again to have you on Press Hour, and particularly the first edition of Press Hour in 2023, you are our guest. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Gillian. Happy New Year to televiewers and Happy New Year to fellow panelists. It's indeed a pleasure to be part of this panel discussion, the first one in the year of our Lord 2023. And I just found out that Killian and CRTV are promoting polygamy in Cameroon by having one woman for 4 men. What is this? Polyandry. Not polygamy. This is polyandry. And my wish is that since this is the first episode in the course of the year, it will be a more equitable panel of men and women giving their opinions and perspectives of things that are happening in our country. Thank you so very much for having me, Killian.
Thank you. We cannot promote polyandry because it is unlawful. It is unlawful in Cameroon. It happened that you are one lady, and this one lady is up to the task and counter the 4 men that we have here. We are once again very happy to have had you, a lady of substance. And let me come to you, another face that you have not seen here for so long, moral authority, Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya. He is a moral authority. He has been a pastor all his life, now emeritus, but the morality in him is still intact, and that is why we have brought him here, giving the orientation of our subject. You're welcome, Reverend.
Thank you, Mr. Gillian, for inviting me to participate in this wonderful program, and I want to wish you a Happy New Year and the CRTV crew that is working together with you and all the listeners who are listening to us, and I hope that at the end of the day we would have come out with some contributions that would go towards the nation building to make Cameroon what they ought to be. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You are most welcome, Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya. And from you, I'm going to switch over to my left again, the other side of the set, to welcome Professor Victor Mbarika, who is a Cameroonian diaspora patriot. He's always on Press Hour. He's on other fora when he comes to Cameroon. And you know how excited he is about to be in his country. Once again, we welcome you to Press Hour, Prof.
Killian, thank you so much. It's always my honor to be at CRTV as well as the other media houses. I get the honor to be there. So thank you for inviting me again to your show. I want to thank CRTV inviting me to speak right before the president spoke this year. That was a great honor. So this is our country. We love it. Regardless of who are those running it, this country will remain. So Happy New Year to everyone, and we look forward to this show. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Prof. And my colleague, Elias Ngalame. Elias Ngalame is editor-in-chief and publisher of Echo Outlook newspaper. Elias, you are one of us. We're happy to have you on Press R. When we call, you always answer. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Killian. Thank you. I'm glad to be on the panel again. Thank you.
And we're going to go straight away to see the media. Most of the newspapers that we review for you each time we start the program are still observing their own research. They're going to start fully next week. But we had some of the newspapers that published, and Emanuela Vemnui reviewed them for us on Press R. Emanuela, what did the paper say in the week that just passed for those that published?
The press in Cameroon continues to examine President Paul Biya's speech to the nation last December 31, 2022. Cameroon Tribune describes the mining projects announced to go operational this year as a trump card for the country's emergence. Structural projects which make Cameroon inside the right. 2023 heralds more socio-economic progress. The Horizon brings to the fore the proposal of experts who say 50% increase of mining reserve is intended for local industries. And President Paul Biya reassures Cameroonians in Cameroon Insider that he will continue to do everything to ensure the country's progress with the fight against corruption highlighted by the head of state, a fight receiving a favorable echo from Akere Mona, though the two differ on proffering solutions to vice which there is impunity in Cameroon. In the Horizon, a speech in which Finance Minister is hailed by the President of the Republic for raising and ensuring judicious use of finances. On the Guardian Post, then electoral registers are flung open to start registering new voters. In Cameroon Tribune, Cameroon Insider says 2023 voter registration is underway nationwide to register new voters and update the general elections data. Just when new classification of state companies and establishments is unveiled by a decision of Finance Minister. In Cameroon Tribune, Frundi then lambasts separatist leaders and says karma and the wrath of the people, which is also the wrath of God, will not spare them. In the Horizon, then schools resume for the second term after end-of-year festivities. In Cameroon Tribune, Cameroon Insider presents the list of 25 intermediate lions who have been named for the Shan 2023 in Algeria, and immediately they go camping in Tunisia. In the paper, the death and burial of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI and the legendary Brazilian footballer Pelé is also reported by the papers. Let's now end our press review with a story in the Horizon where a free Christmas haircut by military provoked backlash in Kumba. As reported by the Horizon, the military, with the help of a large pair of scissors in Fiango, assisted by administrative and municipal authorities, gave a free haircut to youths. It precises that the free-for-all Christmas haircut targeted only youths wearing dreadlocks, an exercise which didn't go well with the population. That's all we could put together for you while expecting newspapers to resume publication. This is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you very much, Emanuela. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is Press R, broadcast live from CRTV production Balatu in Yaoundé. And you are watching us on the topic morality and patriotism as lessons that we singled out from the declarations of the head of state at the end of the year and at the beginning of this year. It also featured in so many other speeches, public statements made in planning for a better year 2023. That's what we have for you. That's what we're going to focus on, and I am just going to call on Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya. We have two themes here, two terms that we are dealing with: morality and patriotism. We think that all what we are doing, if we don't capitalize on these two, we're going to miss the way. Morality first. What's wrong with morality in our country? That every time the president is coming to this point.
Well, in order to know exactly what is wrong with morality in this country, we need to understand, first of all, what morality is all about. By simple definition, morality has to do with the concern of a distinction between what is right and what is wrong. In other words, what is good and what is evil in the conduct of people's living and their lives. If we just take that simple definition of morality, then we have to ask ourselves whether we are able to make a distinction between what is right and what is wrong, what is good, what is evil, in the conduct of our daily activities in this country and in our various homes. If we have that simple definition of morality, then we know that in the head of state's speech, which he made to all of us on the 31st of December 2022, he came across with many things which show that our moral standards have fallen and we are not living according to expectation or according to the dictates of our constitution and what's expected of every one of us, because many things are going wrong, which the head of state himself was able to ascertain that those things are going wrong. And one of those things he talked about was the question of corruption, which I think there will be time for us to talk about it, and the question of civil behavior in our society. What is it that we are able to do that we are not supposed to be doing? And what is it that we are earning that we are not supposed to earn? And I think the president came out with two evils, which we may come down to narrow to that: the question of corruption and the question of incivility. Mm-hmm. These two, corruption and incivility, shows that something is going wrong somewhere. Somebody is taking something that does not belong to that person, and that thing is corruption. And somebody is living a life that is not according to the dictates of our constitution, that is civil disobedience, and creating problems in our various corners where we live, in our villages, in our society, and even in our offices. So all of these, Mr. Killian, are the things that if we understand clearly, we then know that something is absolutely wrong with our country, with our behavior as individuals, and collective behavior, which comes to that. We cannot blame all the individuals, but it goes to from individual to our collective behavior that shows that there is something which is wrong with our country and with our morality. And I think as the program unfolds, we'll be able to give specific examples of the things that are causing us not to be morally upright, yes, and the things that are also causing us to show corruption.
Exactly, and after coming up with such examples, we are also going to call on you to propose solutions to these causes of corruption and immorality generally. I think I should give you the chance to talk about as Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya has said. Madam Nicolene Wazie, you talked something about this morality. Then we ask Professor Barika to talk about patriotism. We define the terms and then we take off. Madam Nicolene.
Thank you, Killian. To add to what Prof has said, I think the problem with morality in Cameroon is that we need a type of moral rearmament. Our morality has like degraded by the years, and we live in Cameroon as if we are passerbys. Cameroonians, and basing specifically on the issue of corruption and incivility, Cameroonians live in Cameroon as if they are passing. I think if my memories are good, I'll go back to as far back as 1987, when the veteran journalist Eric Chinje raised awareness on the need to fight against corruption in Cameroon. We need to take these things logically, because the president answered Eric that when we Cameroonians, we had seen corruption going on, the president answered Eric by saying that there is no proof that government officials are corrupt, and thus we cannot prosecute for an unfounded offense.
That's legal.
He
didn't see the proof.
He didn't see the proof.
And when he saw the proofs later, he started.
Please, Kilian, you asked me a question. Let me.
You are very correct. But when he saw the proofs, he said,
Kilian, 19 years after, in 2006, the president opened his eyes and he was like, "Where have I been living?"
Exactly.
In January 2006, the president launched the Operation Sparrow Hawk to arrest and imprison embezzlers of state fund, corruption mongers, and for them to restitute the stolen goods. In the same year 2006, in April, the Cameroon government passed the law on the declaration of assets and properties of government officials in pursuant to Article 66 of the Cameroon Constitution.
Yes, a constitution of 1996.
But my worry is all these things have not been translated into action to think that something is being done to redress the morals of Cameroonians. The special tribunal was created, and you name them. But why is it that 36 years after this awareness, the president still, like every year, talks about the morality, corruption, and the incivility of Cameroonian?
Because he continues, and you yourself, you have said that when he realized that the thing was taking a certain turn, he himself, he said in his speech, he launched that crusade. He has been sending people to prison. Anyway, we're going to come back to that. Before I come to Prof. Baraka to talk about patriotism. Elias, what's wrong with us? When we hear Madame Waze talk here, is as if she is an angel. But if another person comes up, they are going to give all the same speech. But when we go back, we see that it's the same thing. What's wrong with us?
Well, what's wrong with us, our society?
And I use the word us.
Yes.
Collectively.
Yes, our society is dictating on us because every society gets only the type of people it sells. You know, corruption is a cankerworm. They have been singing it in and out. You know. And you know, when you say you are a patriot, you must show love for your country. And if you have to show love for your country, you will not pilfer into the public purse. You will not deprive that country of its resources. You will not think of your individual self or your family. You will think of the general good of the society. And if we start thinking of the general good of the society, I bet you this moral degradation will be largely abated.
Thank you. You have centered only on corruption. Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya outlined several aspects of morality, moral behavior that we are failing. Well, you decided to use corruption is just one of them. Now, I am going to move over to Professor Victor Baraka. We are going to define the terms first. Patriotism. Some of us actually think that you are a patriot of this country from the way you carry out certain things. Your colleagues, your brothers, your other people like you, they don't come here, but you are always here and you are doing so many things here. First of all, before you tell us why you have decided to be this way, different from others, what is patriotism to you?
Well, first of all, Killian, thank you again for bringing me here. I want to tell you, you've invited some very great authorities in this subject of morality and patriotism. I've had the privilege to work with Reverend Professor Anyambod, who was our Vice Chancellor at ICT University, and I can tell you he is an absolutely upright man, just like the other Vice Chancellors who've had the privilege to work with. So he's not just speaking from a pastoral, theological, intellectual perspective, but he lives that life. So I'm honored to be on the same panel with him, who he has known me since I was a little boy. So now, Killian, being a patriot is simple: loving your country, regardless of what it is. Loving your country and understanding that the country is going to be here, regardless of who are those that are running it today or tomorrow. Loving this country. And if you remember, there was actually a speech of the head of state some time back where he says, this Cameroon belongs to us, but we're going to leave it. Cameroon is going to stay. Okay, exactly. The president said this. So I pick from the words of the president to say, it is Cameroon. He was there before any of us were alive, and is going to remain after all of us are alive. But loving our country, and I want to give you the reason why I'm so loving this country. My parents sent me to the US at a very young age, and I didn't know hardly any government authorities here and so on, and got my bachelor's, master's, and PhD in 5 years, became a full professor in my 30s, and look at what can I do with my time. So I said I was spending the night one time in building IT programs in India by the current Prime Minister, when he was still governor, Prime Minister of India. And I'm like, what am I doing in India? All these things I'm doing here in India, we can do them in our beloved Cameroon. But most people I talk with, remember I left this country as a very young boy, most Cameroonians I talk to had nothing good to say about this country. Yeah. In fact, one person said Cameroon is the graveyard for good ideas. I said, no, let me come and try it. And they said the government will not allow you to do anything. I can say it clearly in the number of things. I own businesses and initiatives in many different African countries. I have had absolutely no one ask me for a bribe. People are corrupt here, I'm pretty sure, but I cannot speak on something I've not experienced. So I'm pretty sure a lot of my Cameroonian brothers and sisters want to say, oh, I went to the Ministry of Higher Education and this person asked me for it. Nobody has. Not that I refuse to give. Nobody. So there's still some good patriotic Cameroonians that are moral. I've interacted with many government officials. I don't need to call their names here, from the presidency all the way down. No one has ever asked me for a bribe for the things I want to do. They have rather encouraged patriots to come build the country. So a patriot is someone that loves their country and comes to build this country without adding a financial burden to the government. So I know a lot of people that have told, we cannot come to invest in Cameroon because the government does not support us financially. No, we need capital. Exactly. How dare you? Mm-hmm. You should bring the resources and ask. All I ask every time from the government, let me do what I can legally do. If, for example, I want to take out a container from the port and I have to pay the taxes of 10 million, I don't want anybody to tell me to pay 10 million and 1,000. Yes. Let the government protect. And that has been happening. No. So I am really calling on all Cameroonians of good mind. This is a great country. It allows you to succeed. It allows you to prosper. And you are an example. Yes. Thank you very much. We've heard that we are going to listen to this excerpt of the President of the Republic in his address to the nation on the 31st of December 2022, and it is directly dealing with our subject for today. Let's watch this.
That are becoming rife in our society, namely corruption and incivility. Last year, in similar circumstances, I talked about the need to strengthen governance in the management of public affairs and to control government spending. Rest assured, that this concern is constant and unwavering. I also want to reiterate that those who are illicitly amassing wealth by plundering the state at whatever level will be brought to book. I urge all Cameroonians, regardless of their social standing, to resolutely embark on this crusade, and I have led over the years. Everyone at his or her level should act with integrity and safeguard and common will. It is only through working collectively, decisively and resolutely that we will be able to overcome the corruption persisting in our society. You have certainly noticed, like me, growing incivility, violence and disregard for basic social norms or established order in our towns and in the countryside. Such behavior cannot be tolerated in a state of law. Those who take delight in disrupting social order, whether young or old, will answer for such conduct before the competent courts. I am therefore appealing to all, especially parents and educators, to take up the responsibility of fully restoring basic moral values and respect for public order. Once more, I wish to make an appeal to those using social media for criminal and malicious purposes through their actions, particularly disinformation, defamation, and spreading hate speech. They cause distress to numerous families and often ruin lives.
Yes, we watched that together. I'm going to come back to Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya, who is a moral authority, at the level of policy where the president is involved. He aligns all of that with rigidity, and he expects that it should be replicated. He has no problem. If there's a problem, it's elsewhere. Do you believe?
Mr. Killian, I think listening to the president, one will go away with the impression, which is the right impression, that he has realized what is going wrong in this country. His policies are very good. The laws in this country are good. As Professor Mbaraka already said it, you would not have any quarrel with the problems, with the laws and the text and the speech the president has just made. It's a fatherly speech that he has made, very fatherly, and pointing out to all of us the problems that are existing in the country. He is there, he has appointed people to work with him, to implement his policies in the field. He is not the one to go and implement those policies, but he oversees the implementation of those policies in the field. And when people are failing in their responsibilities, we have seen the clear example of what he has done before, and people have gone to prison because of that. And part of patriotism has to do with the willingness to sacrifice for your own country, with the willingness to defend that very country in which you live, without changing your support and your devotion to that country. Being loyal to that very institution. Because institutions themselves are not corrupt. Because I've not seen any text in Cameroon that has enshrined an aspect of corruption into it.
There is none.
It doesn't exist. Which therefore means that the texts are they were written, but the individuals who are applying those texts are not doing the right thing. And I can speak as one who has been to the field, as a member of the anti-corruption unit in the Ministry of Territorial Administration. I've gone around this country to very many places to cross-check people and indict them through the reports that we wrote after that, And some of those people I can tell today have been disciplined and taken off from the office. I don't need to call their names on this set. But those who are listening to me and those who are victims will know that we visited them, we audited them, we verified their records, we saw they were corrupt, and we wrote reports and actions were taken. Some of them were demoted from their offices, and some of them were just left out completely. I can attest to that as one who went to the field, and I can name the places I went to. But if I name the places, the individuals will be indexed.
No, you don't need
so I don't need to name those places.
Yes.
But I'm saying that, and the fact that you even created an anti-corruption unit in this country, and what we call CONAC. And people have been reporting to CONAC and sending information there, and the person at the head of CONAC happened to have been my staff. He worked under me when I was the director of the Protestant University of Central Africa. He was one of my staff members who was appointed to be that Professor Masigams. And he is doing a very wonderful job in making the reports. Sometimes the process may be slow, but it is assuring, because at least some people go to prison and pay for it. If we hear this speech this year, in which the president himself said that these people will have their day in court, they will be brought to book, we should be looking up to that. We should be looking to that. That people will be identified, they be tried, and found guilty, they are in prison. Otherwise, at the moment, they remain as people who have just been accused without the proofs yet. As Madam said it, when somebody is accused for a crime, you need to have your day in court. And when you have your day in court, you justify whether you are guilty or not, and the juries, like you are, will be able to determine whether that person is guilty. And until that process has gone through, we cannot already declare that people are guilty. I've listened to very many reports which have been put out there accusing this or that person. We only pray that those people should have their day in court and be found guilty and be held responsible for not being patriotic.
Yes, what so many Cameroonians say out there is, as you have said, it is low, and that justice delayed is justice denied. And we are not going to continue to elaborate that with you. I'm going to go to Elias to ask you, as a member of the press, what are you doing to fight corruption, to fight other aspects of immorality, on civic behavior that we are talking about today, morality and patriotism?
Yes, Killian, you know, the press has been hammering on the issue of governance. The issue of governance is capital in the fight against immorality in all perspectives. You know, clad this country today with the most beautiful garment in the form of tarred roads, in the form of social amenities, water, basic social amenities, water, electricity. Clad this country today with simple basic issues like health insurance. I remember when we were in primary school in the 80s, they distributed us cards of health insurance, where when you were sick, you are able to go to the hospital, your insurance covers you at least 10%. So by the time your family comes to intervene, the insurance, you are already being treated. If Cameroonians get these basics, if these governance issues is taken strictly right to the roots, I bet you each Cameroonian will become a police to preserve and uphold the integrity of this country. And this, the corruption and the other immorality will fade out gradually.
Well, I want to ask you the question this way. You are talking about all these physical, and don't you think that we have, first of all, not to give those, those facilities should be given, but we first of all have to treat it as a mental problem. It's a problem of mentality.
Yes.
Not the problem of will or power.
Yes, it's a matter of mentality. Cameroonians, to a large extent, have sold their consciences to the dog. But to if you look at it again,
some Cameroonians. No.
Yeah, of course, when I say Cameroonians, a majority. Let's put it that way. Cameroonians love their country, Killian. When the Indomitable Lions are playing, I bet you come and see the tension in every Cameroonian. come and see the love for country in every Cameroonian. Sometimes I used to ask myself, how can this love for the Lions' victory not be translated in other activities of life? You will find that Cameroonians, just like you will find in countries like Rwanda. Go to Ghana today. The Ghanaians were here 30 years ago as laborers, but they ran back because governance issues improved the lifestyle of their citizenship. And today everybody wants to uphold that jealously.
Okay, I got that. Thank you very much, Prof. It's a problem of mentality. How do we tackle that problem of mentality before we actually get people behave in such a way that we are accepted, we fall in the category of people who are morally right and patriotic to their country?
Absolutely, Killian. Let me mention something here. You know, a lot of Cameroonians truly feel like, they may be excited about the Indomitable Lions, but a lot of Cameroonians are very negative about their own country. You know, like they feel like everywhere else is nice, but in Cameroon, I've had the privilege to travel all over Africa, all over this continent. I'm telling you, we are way ahead of, I would say, over 60% of African countries. Counting countries maybe like Kenya, Nigeria, I can count them in my hands in terms of infrastructure. We are not doing that badly. So for the mentality, we must be proud of what we have so far. And my dear brother, I agree with what you are saying even about Ghana. But you talk to Ghanaians in Ghana, they will tell you that their government is corrupt. They will tell you that they don't have this or that. I go to Ghana, I do business in Ghana. And Ghanaians also, it's just an African mentality that in my country, it's not good enough, you know. But if you look at Cameroon, for example, we can count 4 major metropolitan cities. But most of the African countries, you go outside the capital, there's nothing. So first of all, we should be proud of what we have as Cameroon. I'm not saying stories. I've traveled. Sometimes it's good to travel to know these things.
Yes, I know.
I mean, we have for example, everybody is insulting Cameco. Nigeria does not even have a government airline, a government-run airline. So we should be glad that we even have one that can even if it's late, it goes.
Prof.
So it's mentality.
Prof.
Yes.
That aspect. Are you serious?
Absolutely. Nigeria does not have an official government airline. Most African countries don't have official government airlines.
Simple Nigerians have private jets.
They have private jets. More private jets than commercial airlines, by the way, yeah. But they don't have a working... Nigeria Airlines has failed long time ago. So we can say, okay, Cameco does not leave on time, But I've been on many Cameco flights that left on time. I've been with Cameco to many countries around the world before and currently. Now, my point is, we have to change our mentality and be happy with what we have.
In that aspect, we have to do better, Prof.
We have to do better, but we have something. Saying that we have to do better is different from saying we don't have anything.
Okay.
That's that poverty mentality that keeps us down. Number 2, we have lost our morality because we've lost God in this country. People, Christians and people that are saying that people of faith are the same people that are very corrupt in our country. Yeah. No, of course, some. I'm not saying no. So we should be real. Now, talk about patriotism. That those that steal money. When we talk about people that steal money, where does our mind go to? Government officials. Are you for real? I have run a lot of initiatives here in Cameroon that is so hard to find someone to manage the money. A lot of people say it's easy to just throw stones at people that are up there, but it has to start with the individual that has lost God, and we need to develop that patriotism in us and morality, honesty in us. I've asked someone to give me a receipt that's related to me, and they asked me, don't you trust me? I said, I need a receipt for accountability.
Yeah.
But they will steal for the smallest things.
Yeah, okay. What you have said is really deep, Madam Wazi Neklin. We have been talking about earlier. You were looking up there. He has raised a point. Let's look at ourselves down here also. So what do you have to say about that?
I will simply say that a child that has become wayward because of a broken home is the responsibility of the parents. Why are the people at the grassroots, everybody, including children in the house, you need to bribe them to do something? Why has it become the mindset and the mentality of Cameroonians? A child that has become wayward because of a broken home is the responsibility of the parents. Number two, we cannot continue to content ourselves with the least. We only look at what we have that is more than other African countries. Have we also looked at our riches? Cameroon is the food basket for the Africans.
The Central
African region, CEMAC in particular. Cameroon is the leeway into those inland locked countries like Chad, Central African Republic, and all of those things. All these advantages, what are we doing with them? Is it okay for us to continue to compare ourselves with these countries as being better than them? How better are we than them? What are our aspirations? We cannot be a people continue to content ourselves that we are better than A, B, and C without what are our aspirations? What are our measurements? And coming back to what Prof said, Prof said, one second,
we
please.
Have,
one Prof second.
There's a development goal.
I'm coming to that.
Then we have
Gillian, please let me talk. Prof said corruption. There is no corruption inscribed in any policy in Cameroon. Yes. But we know that our penal code define offenses by action, by inaction, and by omission. Corruption is not enshrined in any of our policies, but we do have corruption because of inaction. If we go back to the Article 66 of the Cameroon Constitution and
Declaration of Assets,
Declaration of Assets, and the 2006 law, why is this not done? It is just to show us that all the beautiful policies, they are not translated into action. Well, because they are not translated into action, there is no impact. On that, if we start by declaring assets, we will know why your assets have increased during your tenure of office, and you should be able to explain why it has increased. Yes. Why has this law never been implemented?
Never is not the word. Some people who are there working to ensure that happens will also tell you that never is not the word to use when we are talking about Article 66. Article 66 of our Constitution, I'm sharing with you because I brought people here who are jurists also like you, and they have said that it is not obligatorily stated publicly. So some of those declarations are made. Probably you should be. There is a commission, but we don't know about the function of that commission. No, you should be saying that commission should bring the declaration.
Exactly, this is what I'm saying.
Not saying that they are not doing anything. Yeah. Okay.
But if they don't let the public know what they are doing, we conclude by saying they are not doing anything.
Well, that conclusion could be hasty, unfounded, from a superficial. That is what we are saying. I didn't stop you. Many people feel like you, and you have a right to that opinion. And we are saying that. We join you to say it should be made public so that people don't know.
36 years after the creation of that commission, we should have their reports.
Yes. Now we are going to go into how that is the solutions to this moral crisis, and how we can bring Cameroonians from positions of being uncivic, of being unpatriotic, to being moral and to being patriotic. Beginning with you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Mr. Killian, for that question. You see, the moral breakdown has to do with moral perversion. That is it, well, first of all. And it's an impairment of virtue and integrity. If somebody does not bother very much about his integrity, then that person ought not to be in an office. And we should be able at this time in our history to do a lot of background check of people. It could even go right to their primary school days. And before we get to certain positions, to do the background check of who and what they have been, and we can have a sense as to how they may, not necessarily always, they may behave in the future. Just like Madam says, if we have a commission which has been appointed and it does not give a report, then it ought not even to exist. It ought not even to exist. So we should not just put structures because we want to put structures. Let's put structures which are accountable and are held responsible for their action. One of the things that we have to do that the head of state called already in his speech, calling on parents and educators, is an indication that there is a failure in our curriculum development in our various schools. And schooling begins not only in the classroom, but from home. Civic education, if we're taught and the parents know it, they start teaching their children about civic education from their homes. And then by the time they get to school, through nursery, primary school, and up to university, they would have been taught what it means to be a patriot. We are not talking about the use of the flag. One of the things, if you go to America, where I happen to have studied there too, one of the things, an American prides himself to wrap himself in the flag.
That's correct.
To show that he is an American. But Cameroon here, I wonder whether Cameroon even have flags in their homes. As part of patriotism. And as part of the commitment to this nation. So in order to change the mentality of our people to be very committed and love this nation and sacrifice for it, we have to revise our curriculum right from the primary, right up to university, and involve parents and educators. So that we are not just teaching theory. Of this, as somebody said, we are being taught on how to remember without thinking, which is an insult. If you can only remember what you have been taught, the height of a mountain, the length of this thing, and the parts of a tree, the parts of a human being, without knowing their functionality in relation to how we live, then we are only remembering what you have been taught, and your brain is laying.
Thank you. Just one more minute. You started by talking about integrity. Everybody should be concerned about integrity. What do you put into that word, integrity, in 1 minute? And when you talk about integrity, doing the right thing as expected of you in devotion to the honor you give to your country and to the fellow man. Thank you very much. And you should be concerned about what people say about you, what you do, and the rest of that. I'm going to move over to Professor Barika. What are the solutions we have to these morality crises and some people who are not patriotic? What actually, according to you, should all of us Cameroonians do to be morally upright and then build a better country, to be patriots and build a better country?
Thank you. Honestly, I remember this as a kid. My father always said it is more blessed to give than to receive, which is a biblical quotation. We have to always think of what can we give to our nation. We really need to. This is not just cliche. Killian, I will be very, very strong on this. And a lot of Cameroonians may disagree with me. Maybe I'm too Americanized in this.
Not really. You continue. You saying you give. There are some of them out there who get up in the morning, they don't know where to go to, they don't know what to eat, and then they say they cannot give because they don't have.
No, it's not about the money. You can give your time to this nation. You can give a lot to this nation, Killian. It's not all about the money. No. In fact, people that are not ready to give the non-monetary give will not even give the monetary one. This whole concentration, and I don't know where the problem came from, that the government should do everything, is wrong. And I hope this government does not give an impression like they have all the money, the resources to make this country develop. It is the individuals. That is why I differ a little bit with my dear sister. Yeah, about the example of a parent and the children. The parents can, even if a government is corrupt, parents can still raise their children to be upright citizens. I really believe in that. I really believe in the power of the home, in the power of the family. When you see businessmen that have money in this country, they employ young Cameroonians as internship, and they don't even pay them. What is that? Is that patriotic? That's cheating. These people are helping, making money for them. Companies are not ready. I remember there was a young man that discovered a heart machine, I think at Polytechnic, and everybody was saying, oh, the government should invest in that. What happened to all the big businessmen? They should put money in that. That's why even at ICT University today, we are funding young Cameroonians that have bright ideas to start their businesses, and they collaborate with us to co-own those businesses. Businessmen, individuals. I talk with some young journalists working for one newspaper. I don't want to call the name of the newspaper. They've been working for 3 years as interns. The newspaper is making money, but not even paying these interns.
That is not
so they will say it's the government. No, we are the thieves. We are the ones to blame. We are the corrupt ones. We need to work on us. And if we work on, even individually, talk about government officials. The same government officials that people call corrupt, they're the same people that you go and invite to chair your weddings. They're the same people you go and invite to do, even though they are corrupt. Why invite them and chair them? Of course, if they know they are corrupt, and you know they are corrupt, and you are worshipping them, they have no reason to change. So that is my take. I think the solution to patriotism and morality is individual. It has very little to do with the government. No government in the world has all the resources in the world to do the big things they want to do in their country. Most Americans don't even know he's their vice president. They don't know the name of a single. 95% of Americans don't know the name of a single minister, what they call Secretary of Education, Secretary of Health. 95% of Americans don't know a single minister.
But
they are working. So we can learn some good things from these other nations.
Thank you very much, Madam Wazi Nicolene. What are the solutions to these problems that you raise louder than any other person on the stage?
Thank you, Kilian. The solutions, just as the previous speakers have said, they are at different levels. But of course, we know that whatever solutions, we need a firm political will that will translate these solutions into action. We don't wait. I come from a village where we pride ourselves with self-reliance. We are a people who believe in ourselves, in community work, in community development. We develop our community. And it beats my imagination when in Yaoundé here, I see people waiting for the council to come and dig gutters in front of their doors, to sweep their houses. I witnessed a very annoying situation 2 nights ago. A young woman fell into a gutter just after Tradex, Total Mendong. And this thing was so painful because I was just in the car and watching this gutter and was asking myself, how can people be using government land to do their, I don't know, washing point and this hole, even their customers can fall into this hole. What does it take to harvest a branch and put into this hole to just prove that there is danger, to signal that there is danger here? Government must not come and do these things. And then this has been aggravated by the fact that government is not doing its own part of the work effectively. And that is why I said a child that has become wayward because of a broken womb, the home, the parents are to blame. So I think the concrete solutions here is that Cameroonians should start by having interest in the welfare of the country, defining ourselves through Cameroon. Are we being given this opportunity to define ourselves through Cameroon?
We look for the opportunity.
We need
like
to
Prof. Baraka is
saying, Prof, you are the one fortunate Cameroonian that has been given the opportunity to pride yourself as a Cameroonian and define yourself through Cameroon. But many of us, majority of Cameroonians, do not have that opportunity. Are we able to sacrifice for the sake of the welfare of this country? Do we really build on the quality of responsible citizens? What are we doing? Do we pay respect towards the national emblems, as
Reverend
just said? People sit under the Cameroon flag and steal. When we were growing up, it used to be an event in school. You will not come to school. Even though I went to a Catholic mission school, it was not even a government school. But you will not dare come to school after the hoisting of the flag and standing at attention to sing the national anthem. Nobody does that today, even in government offices. Look around government offices and see the quality of flags that are there. And there is a budget for this. Even if there is no budget for this, the other budget, we can always look for a way to even start by respecting the emblems. We don't respect the national emblems. What are we talking about? What is patriotism and what is morality? This shows how our morality, our moral integrity is degrading in this country because nobody is doing anything and there is no political will for anything really adequate and appropriate to be done in this country.
Thank you very much. What you are saying there sometimes is, and I saw when you are moving around and you see some big offices and you look at the flag that is up there, it looks like a piece of a rack somewhere. I think this is a call. Madam Wazi Nicolin is sending out there that on Monday, if you are in an office, just look up there and see the quality of the flag that you have.
And this is January. Let's do this in January.
Now, it was your turn, rightfully. Yes, that is your turn.
Yes, Killian. You know, they say that if you want to chase away darkness, put on the light. We should put on the light of good governance. I accept with Prof that it is a collective responsibility. But Cameroonians are so disillusioned that they want to see the example coming from the top. Not all Cameroonians have the opportunity to hold posts of responsibility. They have given it. Some people have the opportunity. They have the service to render. Let them render this service judiciously, and Cameroon will be a better place to live in.
Thank you. Don't complain about the darkness. Light your one candle. That is the one message that we are taking home today on today's edition of Press Hour, the first for 2023. And you watch us here in the studio. You had Madam Wazi Nicolin, who is a jurist and development expert. You also had Reverend Professor Anyambot Emmanuel Anya, who is a moral authority by his right. You also had Professor Victor Barika, who is a Cameroonian diaspora. We qualify as a patriot. You had one of us, my colleague on Press Hour today, Elias Ngalame, who is the editor-in-chief and publisher of Echo Outlook. If you met us, if you joined us halfway, you just have to, at your convenience, connect to www.crtv web, and you go to our Facebook. You're going to watch this program wherever you are. You can also watch a rebroadcast of this program on Monday at 2:30. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time. Have a good day.